More than friends, less than lovers, pals. Oh yeah.
Huh?
Was that?
You say something?
No.
Oh, okay, cool. We're so silly.
Yeah.
Did you guys think we didn't know we had started the podcast?
Did you think we hang out in here with mics in our hands?
We would.
We would. We've yet to do that, honestly, just because it's so hot in here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if this was in the winter, look out. Because you're going to be getting a lot of live streams from this bad
more
boy.
content in the winter. When it's pleasant to be in here bundled up.
Oh, yeah.
For our audio listeners, we were just holding our phones.
We were doing a little bit where we were, like, on our phones, you know, not taking in the world around us
Not
kind of
plugged
thing.
in.
But, you know, that's kind of what's happening in this episode.
We're going to be on our phones the whole time.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys noticed, if for our audio listeners, this is a chill episode. And people watching know that because look at us.
Come on.
We're looking chill.
We're looking
Striped t-shirts on.
Cucumbers right now. Absolutely calm, reserved. We did minimal decorations on set today.
So chill. This is like a palate cleanser.
Yeah. So
the
chill
set.
that I actually just did a whiteboard instead of making a poster.
Yeah.
So that's actually going to get erased. So soak that in.
Someday.
For our audio listeners, it says asking number 4, a pal.
I was going to say we should get like a giant Etch-a-Sketch, but I'm like, that would be so annoying. Honestly, Etch-a-Sketch is not easy enough for me to enjoy.
No, but we have that. There's that mini one, the magnet drawers.
That's different.
That then you just swipe quickly.
I loved the ones where you could draw beards on people.
Yeah.
What was that? What chemical was that?
Not
Were those like
good.
magnetic things that you
Yeah.
could like suck the little black particles, the venom particles around?
Did they ever have like kids eating that? I'm sure
I
some
feel
kid
like it was
tried.
pretty. Yeah,
There had to be a kid that was trying.
there to be
that.
one kid.
If
you
you
have
ate-
ever eaten the magnetic black venom stuff that was
Dust.
on those beard things,
You'd find them in like the grocery store
like
aisles.
Cracker Barrel,
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Right? Go to heytherepals.com and tell us, what'd your doctor say?
Are you magnetic now?
Ooh. Speaking of heytherepals.com, guys, this is
We
like
want to
said-
address.
Yeah,
We want to address something
sure.
from last week
Oh, yes.
that we did not catch.
That's actually not what I was going into, but
Oh.
thank you.
You said speaking of
No.
heytherepals.com.
No, you nailed it. I was wrong.
Last week there was a bit of a Mandela effect on the PAL set, if you will.
Yep.
In that there was a very obvious mistake on the set that was not noticed until Maddie was in editing.
And not until I was deep into editing.
If you are watching, then you might notice that there is a sign behind Maddie that says, heytherepals.com. That is our website, the domain we purchased.
Yeah.
With real money.
New to this set. Millicent just made this last week.
I had a ball making it, and what I mean by a Mandela effect is this sign right here went through multiple stages of different people looking at it as I wrote it out,
And going,
as
"Oh,
I was
that's
painting,
awesome."
everybody saying, wow, everybody's encouraging.
Looks great, love.
Then we get to editing now. It goes, Maddie and I spend a while, it was a little finicky to hang up.
We spent
was
a
tough.
good 15 minutes trying to figure out the best way to hang this on the wall.
I
where
did
to
have,
put it.
I had to do literal breathing techniques afterwards because I was so upset that it kept falling. In all of that, we did not notice that we spelled our own website's name wrong. No. Now you're seeing it and you're like, that looks like a perfect sign. What are you
Looks
talking
correct. Comment below if you noticed how it was spelled last week, because somewhere in the ERE, Millicent was having a blast and couldn't stop and did ERER.
Yeah.
So it did
Hey
say,
there, rare Rowls.
Hey there, Rowls.
Yeah.
So if you're a Rowl and you went, finally, some content for me. Sorry.
So sorry.
This ain't it.
I'm sure another podcast will rise up.
I'm sure there'll be some Rowl podcasts.
and they'll pop in there.
Yeah.
But what were you going to say
This
in
is for
regards to
pals.
heytherepals.com?
I was going to say, for this episode, again, it's a chill one, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're being fun.
I'm probably going to sit crisscross applesauce here soon.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So just good get yourself mentally prepared for that.
Yeah.
But hopefully in the future, you guys are kind of just like every little thing that happens in your life. You're like, who do I talk to? What do I do? I'm going to go to heytherepals.com and tell the pals and like get a little live feedback on something I'm going through.
Or week
whatever.
delayed feedback.
And we hopefully will be able to kind of gather some of those and say, hey, here's what our community's going through.
Yeah.
Let's discuss.
We'll have a finger on the pulse
Yeah.
of the community.
So far, we don't have that yet.
My college therapist who reached out.
Yeah.
Love you, girl.
Wouldn't that be so sweet if in turn you could give some advice to your therapist? That's definitely not crossing any boundaries.
Former. I graduated. We were allowed to friend each other, like on Facebook. So
It's
we're
fine.
in the clear.
It's allowed. So if you're going through anything, but that's not the case. So Millicent and I had to take to the beautiful website of Reddit to find some people who are looking for advice from anybody.
Yeah.
And they're getting advice from us.
And pals, we'd love to not have to be on Reddit. We'd love that. Yeah. So if you want to help the pals, save the pals from Reddit.
Save the pals from Reddit, guys.
By writing in.
Do you want to start?
I will happily start. So just to sum this up, we went and we were looking for questions, looking for people, looking for answers. And so here's some of those.
And we're going to give advice to these people.
Us.
And also, please weigh in if you have advice that you think that maybe we got it wrong or you've got some extra things to say.
If you think we got it wrong, I would love that.
If you think we've got it wrong, like, please, let's establish this now. As we've started to get more commenters, we've started to get more people interacting
And
with
by
our
more
videos.
commenters, we mean like 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
It's been
More than
really
we've had.
exciting.
But maybe just, like, if you have something that's, like critical to say, maybe just be like, hit us with something, sandwich it. Hit us with, like, love your outfits. Makeup bad. Like, if you have something negative to say.
Ooh.
Partner, that's just the only thing I could think.
Okay.
That's not how I'm feeling. but-
Please don't tell me if my makeup is bad.
Well, maybe be like,
I'll
hey,
realize
hey,
it in a
babe,
year and
have
a
you ever
half.
tried like contour? Like, say it, like, be helpful.
Have you seen those girls on TikTok that are so brave? They're like, girls, like, what do I need to do? And like, honestly though, I have seen threads where girls have been like, what is my blindness? Like, what am I not seeing? And then 6 months later, they literally are like, I listened to the girlies and they look unreal.
Because though, I think when girlies are vulnerable like that and they're opening themselves up, the comments are generally just kind of being like, hey, maybe I think you should go towards like these kind of colors.
Yeah.
Like, they're not negative
Yeah.
things. It's all positive, constructive feedback. Or like, let's thin out those eyebrows.
Question number 1.
Advice. Pals gives their advice.
Okay. This is titled, My Best Friend is Pregnant and I Do Not Care. Brutal. Right off the bat. I swear, I don't mean to sound like an a-hole, but I found out about, I don't know why I censored myself right now.
Oh, it wasn't censored? I have one that is very funnily, like it's funny how it's censored.
Yeah. I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but I found out about 5 months ago that my friend is pregnant. Okay, well, she's only going to be pregnant for 4 more months. It was a complete surprise as her and her boyfriend didn't plan for it or anything. They've been together for somewhat 2 years and just moved in together. My friend and I live a few hours away from each other and we see and talk with each other much less than we used to. I love her dearly, but prioritizing spending time together feels like a chore and we no longer do the fun and spontaneous things we used to do. She is really good about not making everything about herself and baby and boyfriend, and she is as kind and compassionate as they come. Still, I just don't feel like I care that much that she's having a baby. It's like the topic doesn't interest me, and the thought of there being a baby soon doesn't excite me the least bit. I don't feel bitter or jealous, I think, just kind of indifferent. I like children and babies, but generally I've never been a huge baby person. I don't feel a huge desire to hold babies or play with them, or even have them myself, etc. Nevertheless, I always thought that when my friends had children, that I would love those little kiddos and be excited to be a part of their lives as the quote fun aunt. I'm afraid this shift in lifestyle is the first step towards us drifting apart completely. I feel I should be happy for her and share her excitement, but I just don't care. You said you don't care a lot.
Okay, I feel like a couple things. One,
Couple things.
it is hard to care about something that isn't in your physical realm yet.
Yes.
So, like, truly, this might change once your friend has the baby. Like, you
Yeah.
might be like, oh, I actually can understand why I love this thing yet. Right now,
Yeah.
you're just loving that your friend, like, has a lump.
Yeah, and that she can't go out anymore, and that...
Yeah, and, like, again, if you're not seeing each other that often already, the other thing I was going to say is, I don't think it's bad to be the friend that still your time that's spent with your friend is about your friend and not about their kid. I think that's super important when it comes to your friends having children, is still being like, hey, I still see you as a person and not just like a mother.
Yeah. I agree. And with the idea of, again, right now it is just a bump.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, honestly, really everything you just said, I really resonate with, because I think that has to be so upsetting, like, on another level of when you become a mom, and neither of us have become mothers, but there has to be an element of that. There is like that identity crisis that you see women talking about, and even with your friendships, feeling friendships changing, I would assume she's likely feeling that shift as well and concerned about that. And I do think, like, in terms of not caring about the baby, give yourself some time, get to know them a little bit when they come. And like,
and again, some people just aren't baby people, and that's okay. Again, I think like being the friend that like is there for your friend as a person can be just as valuable.
Yeah, because especially after the baby comes, obviously, like, this person is going to be different. Like, this is going to change them. Like, nobody, it's going to change something about them. But I also think after the baby comes, it probably would be really refreshing for the mom, for you to come and be like, we're going to hang out just like,
I'm
I don't know
talking about
that kid.
something
Like,
other than the baby.
Yeah, and also if you're struggling to care about it, maybe if you're really struggling, you don't know how to interact or whatever, lean into the idea, like maybe lean into it a little bit. Maybe be like, that's my shtick, I hate your kid.
Okay.
No, not hate. That's such a strong word. But being like, leaning into it. You can be honest of, I feel weird around kids. I don't really know what to do. That's okay.
Yeah.
You guys are both experiencing something new at the same time. She's experiencing motherhood and you're experiencing a friend being a mother.
I do feel like, and this person's clearly feeling guilty about the lack of caring. I think if your friend is going through something big, regardless of what it is, whether it's a job or like a baby or whatever, it doesn't have to be your whole life. You should be excited and kind of care for them. Like, even if you don't, like, in your heart be like, oh, I'm not personally affected by this, and you clearly this person thought that they would be, and I think that's what's bothering them. Just also, like, be excited for them. Like, you can listen to them be excited about being a mom. Like, you can listen to that.
Yeah, and if you are having a hard time caring about the kid, again, you care about your friend.
Yeah.
So just care about them, being like, how do you feel? How are you doing? How can I support? Like, how can I love and support you? And even they even said in the thing that she's really conscientious about not making it all about the baby and her boyfriend. So like, clearly she is aware of that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Whether or not, like, this is definitely probably the first step where, your life patterns are changing. And it's going to diverge, but that doesn't have to mean that the relationship has to lessen or anything of that sort. It just has to change, and that's okay.
I think we covered it. I think you guys get it.
I think we handled that.
You're welcome.
I did throw in a hate child at one point. I want to just go ahead and redact that, but
this one is a little sillier. It is a friend thing, and any censoring that is happening in this is not me. This is how this person wrote this.
Maddie's like, I'm cool and I do cuss.
Unsure of the age of this person. If you're my little cousin, maybe skip ahead a little. I don't know. It's really not that inappropriate, but it's a little inappropriate. This is from flat_spell 1688. Don't know if that's the year they were born, or the header is, what do I do about an inconsiderate friend?
Okay.
She sent me a pic of her boyfriend on Snap. He was in boxers and his D was literally sticking out. What do? I want to be friends with her, but we've never been that close, and I don't want to know what her boyfriend's peen looks like. I know it was probably an accident, and I don't know how to handle this situation.
When she says out,
that's the thing. There was no clarification given. I would say, I think the best route for this is you just gotta address it head on.
Yeah.
If it's truly making you uncomfortable, I think, not head on, not his thing head on. But I feel like if this happened, which she was saying, she thinks it might be an accident. So it's like you can go that route of being like, assuming, I don't think someone was maliciously sending you this picture, right? They either intentionally did it thinking it's kind of funny, or it was truly an accident where they sent you a picture and didn't understand that that's what was happening.
I think you can just say, hey, you aware that his dick was out?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that the best route is kind of just be like, I don't want to see that. Like, just go silly with
keep
it.
That to you two.
I think it's like not something that you do to be like, I can't believe you said, because truly, if you are offended by it, assume the best in people. Like, assume that they either thought you would think it's funny, which it's like, okay, they think you have a fun sense of humor, or they were trying to share the goods. You know, it was a girly looking out for a girly, or it was an accident. In which case, be like, hey, maybe tell your boyfriend to get one of those button-up boxers.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, maybe go ahead and just scan up and down on the pictures of your boyfriend. You're sending
it's
around.
Snapchat, so people are just sending stuff quick. Like, I think they aren't looking. This happened to my friend once.
What?
I think I told you this story. So my friend, she got a Snapchat from this guy we went to high school with, who we were like friends with, but like not still hanging out with, you know, kind of thing, at late. And she was like, this is weird that he sent me this. She opened it and was like, because it was like a nude that he meant to send to his girlfriend. And he responded, like, the next one was like, oh my God, he genuinely, like, it was an accident. Like, this is not the kind of guy that would do this. And he was like, I am so sorry. And I don't remember if she ever addressed it. I'll have to ask her. I'll have her write in.
Being him.
I know. And like, this is my friend who is like you guys need to understand this, my most innocent friend. My little, like, baby. And she got this. And I was like, the fact that you had to be the one to get this picture.
Oh,
So
that's tough.
you're up.
That's real tough.
Yeah. So if you're sending Snapchat still, maybe make sure that your boyfriend's got all his clothes on.
Pals.
I'm going to follow the Snapchat train.
Ooh, fun.
My friend spams me with Snapchat videos, and I have not opened them in weeks. I have a friend who constantly spams my Snapchat with tons of video snaps. 3 weeks ago, she sent me 80 purple snap videos at once, and I haven't brought myself to open and reply to them. I've also struggled with my mental health recently, so opening and replying to them just seemed draining to me, as it's usually just her talking about herself or random things. I now feel like an awful friend and don't know how to deal with it. I feel awkward telling her to stop sending me so many snaps, as I'm not extremely close with her. And I've hinted at it so many times before. I want to see how she is, but I feel like I've left it too long to open and respond to them, that it would be rude now. What should I do? Am I a bad friend for doing this? Not a bad friend.
Not a bad friend.
You're not a bad friend for not opening
That
80
is
purple Snapchats.
Too much.
That is actually
Here's my
shocking.
advice for your friend, actually. Cool it.
Yeah.
Cool it.
Girl, write into Hey There Pals if you have things to say. You
Talk
tell your
to
friend.
us. But for real, it is kind of like, we need to be a little self-aware in this day and age of like, there's people got a lot going on.
And people will mass send on Snapchat where it's like,
Yeah, where it's
okay,
like,
is
that
this
wasn't even
actually
for
just
me.
to me? Or
Yeah.
like, here's what I will say as somebody who is fairly bad at responding with my phone. Like, I'm not great at it. We have a friend, Mahogany, who we mention a lot because we're
Love.
obsessed with her.
Love.
Who will send us videos. And there have been times where, and they're like vlog style videos. Now it's not 80 videos. And frankly, I don't know that I could ever get enough of her talking.
No, yeah.
However,
I would watch 80 videos.
there will be times where she'll send a video or a voice note or something. And frankly, I will see it, think to myself, I'm going to watch this and I cannot wait. And then I'll forget. However, when it does come time, I kind of treat it like it's a podcast in and of itself. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say, where I'm like, because this person was saying, I do want to know how this friend is doing. Maybe you can establish like hey, how about every Friday? Fun thing. We'll send each other a 1-minute video of how we're doing. Like, establish a fun route for this.
I think you can also be very honest with your friend and say, hey, just a heads up, like, I get kind of overwhelmed with Snapchat stuff in general. And I want to, if there's like important things or if there's good tea, you can really phrase it in that way. If there's like if there's some other stuff, like I don't want to miss it. So like, could you maybe text it to me? Yeah. Well, you got to be careful opening that door, but just saying, I never want you to think that I don't care.
Yeah.
It
and
is
also,
just.
I feel like people, every time I've said that to people where I've like forgotten to respond to a text and been like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. People were like, it's fine. Yeah. People generally like.
I truly don't know that I've ever. No. Unless it is something where it's like there is something that we're trying to make happen or.
Yeah, where it's like I was hitting you up for multiple things,
but
you know.
Yeah, in terms of that, I would really just. I would just say, and if I understand as well, having something that you're like, I just want to get it done and I hate having like this tab that has all these things, I would just encourage you while you're doing the dishes next to just literally, you can prop it up and just do it. Like, you don't have to release yourself.
Yeah. This is
life
from
advice.
Marmaduke. I think
Isn't
that might
Dink-
be the female Marmaduke.
Isn't Dink dual income, no kids?
Ooh.
Isn't that? Is it with a K?
Uh-huh.
I think that's what they call themselves.
What a fun name. What a fun, like,
What a
nerdy.
fun life.
Okay, Hermadink love. Okay, you clearly love comics and you have no children. Amazing. Okay. Should I quit the blankie? I'm 35. I've had it since I was a small child. I sleep. No. I sleep with it at night. My husband is the only one who knows, and he doesn't care. I'm not hurting anyone. Be crazy if you were. But I'd be embarrassed if anyone found out. I've lived abroad for 3 years and did not have it, so it's not like I can't sleep without it. Should I quit or keep this nighttime comfort?
Keep your nighttime comfort. You do what you got to do. This is your bed. This is your life. You're the only one falling asleep in your body.
I feel like stuff like that with this new generation, they don't care.
No.
They're all stimming.
Do I seem phased to you by that? Now, I am a woman who does need something that is flannel with her most of the time to be rubbing.
Well, you're not allowed to have flannel sheets.
No. If I had flannel sheets,
Show 'em.
we've talked about
Show
that.
them what you do. Guys, this is one of my favorite, like, physical movements of Millicent's. Please do it, because it cracks me up.
I love the texture of flannel. I have decided in my life I cannot get flannel sheets because if I had flannel sheets, I would just be butt naked in the sheets. Just
For our audio listeners, Millicent is doing an incredible, like, wiggly movement.
I'd want all of like the hair, like, because it's like the texture of like like, you know, when you got a texture you like, and like you get it on your whole body sandwiched over you. Just
I wonder if your senses would be overwhelmed, though. You've been in them before, though.
I
haven't you?
have.
And you liked it?
Oh, I loved it.
No, okay.
I loved it. I was wearing like long pants and I literally hiked them up so that my legs could.
Also, Millicent goes to sleep in a full sweatshirt and a full sweatpants, and then will wake up so sweaty and be like, I'm like, take some layers off. Why are you doing this to yourself?
Okay. All this to say, keep your blanket.
Yeah, I think
Your
just,
husband
also
doesn't care.
nobody cares.
You share a bed with one person, that's your husband, and he doesn't care. Okay, great. I love that.
You're up.
Okay. Now this one is a little bit more. I would say that this one is. I think it's a good topic to talk about. And I looked at you as if that this is like some type of a dig, and it's truly not.
I forgot this is our chill episode.
Yeah, I'm not chilling.
Just kind of laxing more.
Yeah, sorry guys. Hold on, let's get lax. My friend is, all caps, obsessed with Hinge and guys. My good friend in college broke up with her boyfriend of 4 years last fall and is now obsessed with hooking up with all these different guys and constantly tells me about it. Not that big of a deal, right? But she gets very, very obsessive with these dudes, and they oftentimes don't treat her very nicely. Frowny face. This is our last year of college together, and she plans on being on Hinge here, and I don't know. I'm just worried it's going to get in the way of our friendship. I'm over having to hear about all these different guys and giving her advice when she's just not going to take it. Should I just leave it alone and wait to see how it goes this year, or should I confront her?
Gosh, this is so tough
That is
because
tough.
I guarantee everybody's been there.
Yeah.
Everybody's been there, or maybe you've been that friend.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard because it's a lot of times,
like-
not always, a lot of times it's coming from maybe already a little bit of an insecurity that this person has. So it's hard to address something like that. It's college. This is for anybody who is the friend that's too much into the apps and whatever. That's not living.
No.
Spend more time with your friends and let the guys be an accessory.
Yeah.
At that time in your life, like, truly.
Also, that time in your life, too, especially college, you can meet so many people actually in person.
Yeah.
And that is just better.
It is.
If you can. Obviously, like, it's
And
not
maybe
better one way or the other to whatever, but
But maybe make that the thing. Like
Yeah.
you do with your friends. Like if you are the friend that's like, I'm trying to connect with this person.
let your friends be your wingman instead.
Yeah, like
Let
go
it,
out
like,
together.
Yeah. And I also think in terms of being the friend that is feeling maybe dejected, or the thing about giving advice and feeling like it's not being taken, I
tough.
think that is a fair conversation to have. I think that you just really, the key to like those kinds of conversations is to focus on the why from your perspective. And the why is, I love you and I miss you and I want our last year of college to be like us.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, these guys that you're going to be going on Hinge dates with, like, you're not going to really remember them in however many years.
And that's not what your college is for.
Oh my goodness, it's not.
It's not what it's for. And like relationships, like especially at that age with dating, it can be really important and really pivotal.
very
and
formative.
So not to take that away, but it's like college is the times that what you are going to remember is the time you spent with your friends and the people you love. And if you're not spending that time, you're going to look back and be like, oh, I wish I wasn't sitting in a random field with a man that I just met on the internet and know nothing about. You're going to want to be with your buddies.
Also, his dorm, his apartment, whatever, it's going to disappoint you. It's going to let you down. It's going to be
Let's
filthy.
go ahead and get that, Get that into your head.
I mean...
Which, honestly, we didn't really have to suffer through that a lot because we went to college where girls were not allowed in the guys' dorms. Yeah. So I was barely seeing
kind of rocked,
guys'
honestly.
dorms. Yeah, it was saving us.
Again, though, don't ask.
I think always just kind of in a fun setting of being like, can I be honest about something?
Yeah.
Do a voice.
Yeah. Do a
if
little...
you haven't practiced your like little
Can
like
I
kind
be
of
honest about something?
Yeah, it's something silly.
How
being
can
like,
a friend be upset at that?
You got to do a goofy like, I really am starting to feel like maybe you're not listening to me.
I'm starting to wish that you and I could spend a little bit more time together.
I'm just hurt because I feel like he loves these men more than me.
Yes. I also think that you could even say to your friend, hey, obviously, I'm not going to say don't go on any dates.
Yeah.
In terms of the conversations always revolving around that, what if you made it into a fun thing of like, Fridays we have our tea spill.
Yeah.
Where you fill me in on whatever it is, but then the other times we really are just like,
Yeah.
we're talking about, we're doing girly girl stuff.
And I think what's important is, especially if you're starting to, so it sounds like you're at a good time where this you've not gone into your next year yet. You're probably moving into college very shortly. I think get ahead of it. Because if the first time you're feeling this pain, if you bring it up then, it's a little tougher. Like because then it's going to be, there's a little more tension around it. There's a little more, where I think if you're starting it off with kind of being like, hey, this is kind of what I hope for this year. And honestly, I feel like this is what's happened before and I don't want that to happen again. Like, how can we avoid that? Because if you're already like sitting through them ranting for an hour and you're giving advice and they're not taking it, then it's going to be coming from a place of anger.
That is the biggest thing. Because if you get ahead of it, you're so right. If you get ahead of it, you are able to be like, here's the heart of it. Here's the heart of why I'm actually bringing this up. And also, it kind of sets it in their mind of, you being like, I want this year to be awesome. Yeah. This is our last year of college. I want to be intentional about that.
Truly being like, I am not, like covering your bases, being like, I am not trying to stop you from having fun. I'm not trying to, you know, like trying to.
I'm not mad about it.
Being like,
I'm not.
yeah, this is not me trying to do whatever. Because I think people can try and twist words if they're already feeling like they're being attacked and just being like, hey, this is truly like coming from a place of love.
Which is also why a lot of times, if it's possible, these conversations in person, though they are a little scarier to have, because everybody has been on the other side of like a texting conversation when they're reading it back to you and they are putting a tone on it or they're saying
We've
something.
all seen the Key and Peele sketch.
Classic.
Great.
But I think just really and truly being able to like hone in on the heart of it. And like anger is a secondary emotion. They always talk about that. I don't know who it is, but people are always, it's in the
emotion
stratosphere.
gods.
But anger is a secondary emotion. It comes a lot of times from hurt. And I think that it's a lot harder to be defensive during, like if a friend is coming to you, it is a lot harder to be defensive when you are like, oh, my friend has felt neglected, or my friend has
and
felt
I'm seeing
hurt.
the vulnerability that they're saying this with, of truly not coming from it, not being like, you always do this, of just being like, hey, this is kind of how this made me feel. Like, truly relax about it.
Be chill.
But just be like, be honest.
Crisscross. You
Shall
get
we
crisscross
sit
across
crisscross?
friend.
Are you ready for another one?
Yeah.
Okay. This one might ring true for us. How to be more than just the comic relief friend.
Maddie, I literally have the exact same one.
Let's get into it.
Literally
Let's
have it.
get
That's
into
so
it.
funny. Did they put it on both boards?
Probably. Le French boy was needing this. Hey. Yeah. Them being like, I'm the comic relief friend. Your username is Le French boy. Let's start there.
Never change.
Hey, due to my past trauma, I've gotten into the habit of always joking around about literally everything as some sort of coping mechanism for my insecurities, poor mental health, and awkwardness with people. Because of that, people seem to like me because they'll always be able to get a laugh with me. But I've noticed that they never reach out to me when it comes to serious matters. Because of that, I feel quite distant to my friends since I never get to discuss deep topics with them. They never ask me for advice and also don't really seek to know more about me. So I also don't have anyone to talk to when I face personal issues. I'd really want to be more than just a comic relief friend, but I don't know how to do it. Any advice? Thanks. Le French boy.
You've come to the right people.
To the right people. Truly, all I have to say about this. Ooh,
Sorry, guys, we're perching now. I want to do an episode where we are
It's the bird episode.
the bird.
We lay an egg at the end. Kind of fun. on the whiteboard. I think something that was a big, and when we'll get into one of our more serious episodes, just in terms of being there for your friends, I think something that was super helpful for me as someone who all my life people have felt able to tell me things, which is I'm very grateful for. But I have not felt the same with a lot of it, where it is the fault of like being a comic relief friend and kind of being like also a moral support friend, of being like, you're kind of going through stuff and my stuff is not that dramatic. But I think truly in any way, you got to start with yourself. Like you got to be vulnerable with people for people to be vulnerable with you and to get that really earnest connection. So if you are feeling like people aren't coming to you with stuff, go to them with stuff. Like even just being like, hey, how are you doing? Like there's easy ways to get into those conversations naturally and breaking from like bit mode, you know? Yeah. Especially if you get a friend more one-on-one. Like maybe if you're just hanging with people in groups, that could be the problem too.
I also think there's a way to broach maybe your comic relief. I think there's a fine line between your dark humor and just kind of like, you're actually kind of just trauma dumping with a twist, you know? And so you want to be intentional about that, but definitely just starting with yourself and starting to bring up things and actually letting yourself be seen as more than just the key to not being just the comic relief friend is to be more than that.
And you don't got to start with being like, when I was 12.
Yeah,
but
absolutely
like truly
not.
just being like, oh, this class.
Or even like if you catch yourself making light of something, you can catch yourself in that moment and maybe even say to your friend, like, honestly, I feel like that was just my defense mechanism coming out right there. Like, I sincerely actually am hurt by XYZ. But
I think like that can seem very daunting though, to be like getting heart into the emotions. Where I think like if you truly have no experience of like personal conversations with people because you're always in bit mode, I think even just remembering things about your friend, like if your friend was like, oh man, I have to like drive to see my family next weekend, just be like, how'd that go? Honestly, I think that's why people tell me a lot of things, because I ask a lot of questions. And then truly like you get 3 questions deep with somebody and they're like ready to tell you the real story about what happened. And that's all it is just truly asking with intention about your friend and being like, if you clearly have a desire to get to know your friends better and to be known better, so ask. Yeah. Be like, oh, how'd that go? What was that like? Like,
yeah. And also being willing to answer when they opening yourself up, because they're probably not going to come to you. If they're thinking, oh, well, from their perspective, a friend might think that sad things, if you are always making jokes or something, they might think, oh, well, sad things actually make them uncomfortable. Maybe they do, and they make a lot of people uncomfortable. But I think at least showing yourself to be okay with stepping into discomfort in that way does a lot. Because, like, you're already okay with like, a lot of times humor can be uncomfortable to make, and it's a coping mechanism a lot of the times. But a lot of the times, too, you've already you're primed a little bit to put yourself out on a limb.
Yeah.
So try and just like change the limb you're going out on. You're already good at it. You've already like got that like ability to make connections and such. I think it's just being intentional with your own thoughts and being like, okay, I want to catch myself right here and I want to say something that I actually mean, not something that, or just holding yourself back from making that quip and being like, what do I actually think about what they just said?
Yeah.
Let's make sure I'm not like diverting this.
Yeah. Something I was going to say that I've complimented Millicent many times on this podcast of that you're very good at is if someone is sharing an experience, whether it is like, not that it has to be like a deeply traumatic thing, but just any kind of like experience, you're good at sharing a story that I think, well, or just sharing personal things like that you've been through. And again, not even like deep stuff, just being like, hey, that reminded me of this thing. And then you'll talk about something you went through that I think is helpful to making like people are able to open up more when they're like, oh, I know more about you. Now I'll tell you more about me. It's that simple. God bless you.
Thank you. It was a cough, but
I know.
Take it.
That was the joke.
You comic relief friend.
Comic relief friend.
You're so much more than that.
And how are you doing? See, it's that easy.
I think a lot of that is, well, first of all, thank you. But second of all, I think a lot of it is looking for those doorways in conversation, because a lot of times those doorways to do those next 3 questions, to take those next like kind of just angles of a conversation are hidden mid-sentences.
Yeah.
So if somebody is saying something, be like, I don't think I've ever heard you mention that before.
Yeah.
What was
that
what is
like?
that? Yeah. It can be as simple as that.
Easy as that. Don't ever think it.
And guess what? If they have mentioned it before, you go, you've mentioned that before, but I haven't ever like asked about it fully. Yeah. Easy. Like it is purely just looking for the doorways to where you can connect further.
Leave him.
I want to catch him.
No, don't. Stop. We're in the middle of befriending the bugs in this garage, although 2 of them have bit me in the time that we've been sitting here. Okay.
Bring it home.
Here's our final one. From Crazy Negotiations 9387. Subject: limb lengthening. The post says, should I do the surgery? I'm 5'4".
I feel like you're better suited to speak on this.
I just had so many questions for this person. Not advice, just questions. What? Limb lengthening surgery. What's the doctor's name? Where do I go? How? No, what does that mean? What is limb lengthening surgery? Have you heard of this?
I feel like I have, and it's like I don't know that it actually is real
feels
or
like
that
there's-
any legal doctors are practicing.
Something tells me
doing
there's
it.
more specific Reddits for this person.
Something tells me you have to take a couple of connecting flights to get to wherever you can have the limb lengthening surgery.
I think this person needs to go on r/limb lengthening.
Also, 5'4", wonderful
Good height.
That's a great height.
Well, pals, hopefully that didn't cut abruptly. Our audio did cut out. But we're just kind of here to say that's it.
That's all.
That's the episode. Send us your advice if you're, well, sure.
Or your advice.
Or your advice.
Yeah,
Honestly,
let
if
us
you have some
know.
advice. And someone's like, quit. Please don't.
We will
Again,
never.
sandwich it. Say you look great. Quit. Something else nice.
You look great. Quit. Love the set.
Love the set. But if you have something that you want advice on, go to heytherepals.com. Again, it can be like my sink has a leak, or it can be like my best friend's moving out of town. Anything. Or honestly, even DM us. We'll take that too at Won't You Be My Pal?
On TikTok, Instagram. I think you can send DMs on YouTube. I don't know.
And the tube.
Maybe
or the
don't
comments.
send us DM on YouTube. Just comment.
Yeah, we're not sure we know how to get to the DMs on YouTube. So if you do it, we may never see it.
Yeah. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Won't You Be My Pal.
Bye, pals.
Bye, pals.
Pals. Oh.